Welcome to our Digital Transition for Leaders Hangout on Air. Let me first say I apologize about the switch on the link. Hoping that everybody has found us at the new link. I did send out an email and I did post on the previous YouTube account, although it looks like there are still 2 people on the other one. Hopefully they will find us soon, and if not, that's okay. There's a makeup assignment. So hopefully we're all together. We're going to start by talking about why is it important that as a leadership team, we understand technology and what it looks like to integrate technology into the classroom. All right, so here we have this quote that was actually I found in an Edutopia article I was reading, and I thought how current and how relevant to what we were going to be talking about. Effective tech integration must happen across the curriculum in ways that research shows deepen and enhances the learning process. So really, when we think about it, one of the reasons that it's so important that we talk about technology integration is so that we ensure that our students are benefiting from the use of technology in the classroom and that we know what good technology integration looks like. So our digital transition for leaders will be a year-long professional development targeted at helping you to understand what technology integration looks like. Learning tools that you'll learn along the way so that you can use them to model the use of technology with your staff. And then also, we want to make sure that you develop a technology skill set that will enhance your work with teachers and colleagues. Now, as you're following along, if you're on YouTube, which hopefully most of you are, you'll notice at the bottom, there's a place that says all comments, and then it should have your avatar or picture next to it. And there's inside that box in a sort of a light gray, it says share your thoughts. And I'll show you this again later. So if you don't get it now, I'll show you a picture of it in a moment. You can share any thoughts that you might have along the way, anything that you want to add to our conversation. All right, so continuing, our focus is going to be a curricular focus. If you'll notice, I have SAMR and TPAC there, and we have that graphic as well. Although our focus is on technology, it's important to realize that our focus is not just technology. Technology is a tool to deliver the instruction. At its foundation, it's an understanding of the content to be taught, the appropriate pedagogy to deliver, and the perfect technology to enhance its delivery. This is the premise of the TPAC model that we're going to actually talk about in depth at some point during our year-long PD. Additionally, as we discuss technology, we'll also look at the SAMR model, and that many of you have heard me talk about this over and over again as we talk about technology and technology integration. And this model helps us to understand how well we are using technology to enhance, transform, and redefine the learning that's going on in the classroom. Okay, I understand we're having some issues with our music being loud, so we're going to make sure that that's turned off, and we thought that it was, but let's just ensure that it is turned off and that I am not competing with the music. All right, so hopefully, thank you, Krista, for that comment. We will continue to move on. If we notice any other issues, please let me know. All right, so our teachers are actually going to be going through technology PD as well. So it's important for us to have our own technology PD and that our teachers be developed in this area as well alongside us. So we've planned a year-long technology PD implementation plan to help build capacity among our teachers. The primary deliverers of this PD will be our new digital instructional technology facilitators, and they will be delivering that both to students and to staff, as well as to our district staff and administrators. So our professional development process, our PD for teachers will be delivered in one of three ways. There will be a blended approach where teachers receive a short introductory video prior to any face-to-face training so that teachers arrive with some common background knowledge. This will allow our whole group trainings to be more effective. We will also utilize the same blended approach in our small group PLC meetings with teachers. And finally, some PD may be more one-on-one at the request of the teachers through a work ticket system or building administrator. So note that all of our professional development will not be delivered the same way. It really will depend on the content as well as our intent across the board. So as we take a look at our technology integration development for our leadership team, this is sort of our outline for covering these modules and or components, however you want to describe them, throughout the year during our leadership team meetings. So we'll start in August with communicating with stakeholders using digital tools such as Twitter, Facebook, Hangout on Air. There will be a lot of different tools that we'll talk about in August on ways to communicate with our stakeholders. In September and October, we'll talk about SAMR and blended learning. Blended learning is such a large concept, so that will take us some time to talk about. We will also hit on TPAC there as well. October and November, we'll talk about personalized learning, and that really is the crux. That's what it's all about. That's why we do what we do with technology, to allow us to personalize learning for every student so that we are moving every student forward. In December, we'll talk about TPAC, the 4 C's, the 3 C's. The 3 C's may be new, and we'll talk about that and its role in technology integration. And then we will revisit SAMR because it's such a critical piece. And by that time, our teachers should be well into integrating technology. As we go back and revisit our classrooms, we should be seeing different levels of technology integration. In January and February, we'll also do our Smackdown. And we'll talk about that. It's a fun activity that hopefully all of our leadership team will be part of. And then we'll also talk about some digital tools that we might use for the various 4 C's. And then we'll take a deeper dive into those 4 C's in March and April. Now, while we're doing this professional development, the teachers will be going through their own technology integration development, and you'll note that there's going to be some overlap in the things that we're talking about. First and foremost, we'll start out the September meetings with TPAC, SAMR, digital citizenship and safety, which is extremely important when we talk about our students being online and talking about them leaving their digital footprint and what does that look like. And then also we'll talk about LMSs, which are our learning management systems such as Google Classroom, Canvas, OpenClass, those types of things, Edmodo. In October, we'll talk to our teachers about formative assessment and how important it is that we're giving that feedback to our students and utilizing that to inform our instruction and our practice. In November and December, we will talk about personalizing learning. So it's going to be really important, again, that we are all on the same page in terms of what does it look like when we personalize learning for each and every student in the classroom. January and February, we'll talk about the 4 C's and the 3 C's. And then in March, that's still to be determined. It depends on how far we get with our teachers, and hopefully we'll be able to add a few things more there. But we've just stopped with the planning because what we have in front of us is quite heavy. and it's going to take some time to make sure that our teachers really master this content. All right, so we're going to move forward to ask you, what topics are you most interested in? Is it things that we've already discussed? Is it something that, maybe we didn't discuss, but you really want to make sure that we hit at some point? Maybe it's for you, maybe it's for your teachers. So at this point, you can utilize the comment section of YouTube to leave a comment. If you are looking at your YouTube screen right now, you should see where it says digital transition in Hoke County. And then below that, there should be a place for you to, I think it might say take two. Then there should be a place below that says all comments. And then you can share those thoughts. And so if you'll look here on my screen, so I see that Bridget Parnell has just joined us. And so I can see that because, and I'll share with you her post. In just a moment when we leave to discuss our comments so that you can see what that looks like. So when you post, I can see that you have posted, and then we will comment on those. So at this point in time, it's a great place for you to leave any comments that you have, any topics that you might be interested in. Those will come into me live, and we will discuss those. We have some time at the end of our session to kind of go through some of those questions and comments. So take a moment, add a comment, make sure at the end of this activity, your product for the activity is that you've added some type of comment. So again, if you'll take a look at my screenshot here, below your thumbs up, thumbs down, there should be a published on. In this case, this is an old YouTube video I was looking at. And then below that, it should say all comments and a place for you to share your thoughts. You have to be logged in for you to be able to make those comments. So please check to make sure that you're logged in. Top right-hand corner, you should have your avatar. If you're not sure if that's your avatar, if you click on that, it should say your email address. Your login is the same as your email login. All right, so we're going to continue to move forward. So we're talking about Google Hangouts on Air. What is Google Hangout on Air? With Hangout on Air, you can host and broadcast live discussions and performances to the world through your Google Plus homepage. If you haven't set up your Google Plus homepage, that's a good thing to do, but you can also do it through YouTube. And you can also, once you've actually done your Google Hangout on Air, as we're doing now, those who are not able to be present with the 24 of us who are online together right now, that's okay, because when they come back to this YouTube address, they will actually see the recording of our Google Hangout on Air. So even if they're not able to see it live, they can still see it on the YouTube. And if I want to, I can edit anything that we do on YouTube. And I don't know how many of you know that there is a YouTube editor. So even if we have that video, we can edit out the pieces that we don't want and make some changes, add some comments or tags or anything that we want to within YouTube. So just so that you know, there's a lot of variation to what we can do and a lot of possibilities. All right, so moving on with our Google Hangout on Air, you can use Hangout to live stream. Think about how you might be able to use it in your school. Think about how you might be able to use it with your teachers, in your ways that you communicate with your stakeholders. Graduation, maybe award ceremonies. Think about our parents who are not physically here, grandparents, parents overseas. If they want to get on and see our award ceremonies, they might be able to do that. Presentations that students are giving or that you're giving, faculty meetings. Present the information that may need to be repeated. There are some ways that you can present information that you know that you're going to have to repeat over and over again. Perhaps you have a very important faculty meeting and you know the information needs to get out to your staff. So you may do this on air as well as live, and we can talk about how you might do that. You can do both live and on air at the same time. For those who are in your audience, quote unquote audience, live, they'll be there and they'll see you. But those who are not, you will have a recording that you can use later, and that they will get the same information. Okay, so moving forward, what other ways might you use Google Hangout on air? Maybe you can allow students to broadcast announcements. Some of you are having, it looks like, some difficulty leaving comments, and I'm going to address that in just a second. Once again, and I think this is sort of a learned thing. So this is our first Google Hangout on air, and we will definitely do another one. So making sure, again, it's really important that you are logged in. And I can't say that enough, because if you're not, you will not see the place for all comments. Also, if you're not on a computer, I notice that it's a little bit more difficult to do on an iPad or a phone. So if for some reason you are on a device that does not allow you to log in, if for your product you want to just do a screenshot, if you're on an Apple device, which is an iPad or an iPhone, you can just use your home key and the top key that turns it off, and you push them at the same time, and that'll be your screenshot, and you can use that to turn in for your assignment. And don't worry, we'll get everyone caught up. I can see people who are online, and typically I can tell if you're logged in who you were. So I see many of you have made comments, and if you're, for some reason you're not able to, that's okay. We'll get you caught up. No worries. All right, continuing with ways that we can use Google Hangout on air. Our students, if they want to broadcast the announcements, perhaps in your school, you want your students to be sharing announcements, whether it's the cafeteria menu, whether it's just things that are going on, special days, you can do that online with Google Hangout on air. All right, so we're going to continue to move forward and think about ways that you can use Google Hangouts. How can you use Google Hangouts in your position, and use the comment area of your YouTube comment bar, if you will, to share your ideas. And if you can't do that there, go ahead and send me an email. I'll pull up my email. I may not be able to show it on our live YouTube, but I still will be able to see your comments. And so I've seen some of your comments coming in on YouTube as well as online. Okay, well, I'm giving you a second to do that. Think about how we're benefiting from Google Hangout. If you're watching this live, you are experiencing Google Hangout live. If you're watching this after the live event, you're still going to benefit from it, because you can see the recorded event. Other ways that we might use Google Hangouts. Think about elementary. Some of our teachers might use book clubs. They may do book clubs nationwide or international book club. There are no parameters set on where and when we have to be in order to do these book clubs. We might pull in experts into our classroom. For our secondary schools, maybe we're doing teacher office hours, maybe in the afternoon or the evening. Students can actually have conversations with their teachers or work in small groups. Students engaging and connecting with each other around these common topics. Teacher mentors. We know that it's really important for teachers to be able to learn from each other. We know the power of online networking. Now it's possible to connect our teachers with one another. Also, administrators, you may share ideas with each other. We may collaborate as administrators. We can alleviate travel. We are all meeting together, even though we haven't gotten in our car and gone anywhere. PLCs, maybe a book study across the grade levels who have different planning times, receiving training or information. So lots of different ways that we can use Google Hangouts, lots of different ways we can engage our community. So at this time, what we're going to do is, you guys have some great ideas. I'm seeing those roll in. And so I'm going to not ask for questions at this point. I'm going to stop our presentation. You're going to see me go live in just a second. And then once that happens, I'm going to share out with you some of the conversations that you guys have been having. So give me 1 second to stop my screen sharing. And you probably now see me. And we're going to look at some of our comments here. So Krista says she agrees with Wanda. She wants to use this tool in her building because she thinks it would be very effective. It's time saving, and it's also hitting our technology and 21st century learning. Thank you, Krista, for sharing. Hayden says, I'm interested in learning how to successfully use technology to communicate with parents and using it to provide professional development. Great. Dr. Corral, congratulations, Dr. Corral. He says, so far it's nice and clear, but he says this is an easy way to meet with everyone without having to leave our office, as long as the technology helps. Ms. Hammond thinks we're moving in the right direction. She's interested in learning more about blended learning to better assist her teachers with classroom instruction. Ms. Shane Francis says she's very interested in learning about personalized learning we can help teachers provide for students. Ms. Kramer has a great question. She says, can sporting events be live streamed as well, as long as you have access to the internet and as long as you have some type of camera? Your camera can be an iPad. It can be the camera that you may buy a camera, actually. It can be any type of camera that you can connect to a device that has access to the internet. And yes, it can be a sporting event as well. Great thinking. I like the way you're thinking. So certainly we can put those online as well. Ms. Calder says that the things that most interest her are TPAC and SAMR. And Ms. Calder is in our digital, distinguished learning and practice for administrators, leadership and practice, I apologize, for digital learners. And she is the first one in our county to go through that. So she's already getting some great ideas. And so we thank her for joining us. She found a great site, iPad boot camp for teachers. So that's a great thing. Thank you for sharing that. And if you haven't had a chance to write that down, you may want to jot that down so you can look at that. Ms. Bailey, she says she would love to be able to share PD with teachers and coaches as we move forward in technology. Also, she wants to be able to share with a specific group of teachers information that is specifically for them. Megan, I would agree with you here, as well as Wanda, that this could be helpful to walk people through things that maybe everyone can't be together. Ms. Gray, Principal PLC meetings with Google Hangout. How nice would that be? Ms. Damon says her interest is moving beyond the substitution phase, and I think that's something that we should all be aiming for. For 3.5, it's growing off of what they have already started with their Chromebooks to personalize learning for those students and making sure that they're incorporating the LMSs. And allowing students to collaborate. When we talk about the 3 C's, we'll talk about collaboration, consumption, and creation. And what do we see in the classrooms? If we're seeing kids just consume, that's not where we want to be. We want to see them collaborating, and then we certainly want to see them creating with the technology. So the next time you walk into one of your classrooms, think, what are you seeing? Consumption, collaboration, or creation? Look at there. Miss Hammond is excited, wanting to use Google Hangout to deliver PD. Oh, I love this. Using for student announcements would be fun. Thank you, Wanda. I would agree. Using this for AIG students to present their projects. Yes, but not just our AIG students. All of our students will benefit from using different modalities to express their learning. Ms. Kramer, I like how you're thinking. Homework help. Yes. How nice would that be, having a designated time that students can get online and get some help with their homework in live time? Hayden says we could use it to with our beginning teachers as a mentoring tool. Bridget says maybe in lieu of some face-to-face meetings. Ms. Foley said Google Hangouts would be a great way to provide professional development to teachers without bringing everyone together for a meeting. And then teachers have access to all of their materials in their classroom. And so that's a great way as well. Academic coaches through Google Hangout. Did you hear that, Ms. Dallas? Mr. O'Connor says, other than the comment area, is there a way for us to know who else is involved in the Hangout? This is something that as an organizer, yes, that's a great question, Mr. O'Connor. I can see that. If we were actually on a Google Hangout versus a Google Hangout on air, and I'm going to take just a second to talk about the difference between the two. The Hangout on air, there is no limit to the number of people that can be involved. And so that's done through YouTube. And so you all are able to join me live, be able to comment, and I can see that, but you're actually not able to kind of maybe interface in terms of sharing your screen, that type of thing. Now, on a Google Hangout, which is a limit of 15 people, you can do that and everyone can see everyone else. But when we're on Hangout on air, it looks different. All right, so thank you, Miss Register. She says, oops, sorry. She says, great collaboration tool. It is a great way for to collaborate together. And Miss Usry, you are really thinking now, putting on that thinking camp, lessons for substitutes when you're out for some reason. Yes, you can communicate with your students even if you're not there. Perhaps you have to be somewhere else, but you want to have a quick class with your students or with your teachers or what have you. You can still be there, but yet not be there. All right, so we have some other comments that I may not have gotten a chance to get to. I hope to have picked a few here, and I know I've gotten some in my inbox in email. So what I want for you to do at this time is we are going to wrap up. If for some reason you have not got a chance to do a screenshot from our Google Hangout on air, you can do that at this time. You'll be able to put that in as a product for this Hangout. If you've already sent in a Hangout on air comment through YouTube, I've already gotten that. I've already marked you. You're good to go. And for those who are not here, there will be a makeup assignment. So when you see that makeup assignment, you can ignore that if you were here. And for those of you who were here or not able to post, you can just send in a screenshot. And if you're having trouble with that, do not worry. You just send me an email and we will make sure that you get credit for attending. Guys, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning. I want to be true to my word and keep us to 30 minutes. I am 1 minute shy of 30 minutes. So again, thank you for being here. You guys are awesome. I'm looking forward to a great year of learning about technology integration, and how we're going to move our boys and girls forward using personalized learning for each and every student, making sure that we are providing appropriate instruction for them. Thank you again, and I will see you online.